This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
Well, you can put a check mark in the Diddy category for a victory over the last couple of days. The woman who accused Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs of raping her when she was 13 years old has dropped her lawsuit against both men, according to court records. The notice of voluntary dismissal was filed on Friday and was dismissed with prejudice, meaning she cannot refile the case. The lawsuit, initially filed in late 2023, included disturbing allegations that the women identified. This was like 24 when it was filed, not 23, right? It's 25 now. Yep, it was 24.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Included disturbing allegations that the woman identified as Jane Doe was lured by a limousine driver outside a 2000 MTV Music Video Award ceremony and taken to an after party where she claimed she was drugged and raped by the two music moguls. The suit was dismissed less than 4 months after it was filed, but her attorneys did not provide a reason for withdrawing it. Jay-Z, whose real name is Shawn Carter, strongly denied the allegations and has been pushing for the case to be dismissed. Following the lawsuit's withdrawal, Carter released the following statement calling the claim frivolous, fictitious, and appalling. I would not wish this experience on anyone. The trauma that my wife, my children, my loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed, he said, also referring to the case as a money grab. Combs, who is already facing several lawsuits alleging sexual misconduct, has been in custody in New York City since late last year on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. His legal team responded to the lawsuit's dismissal by asserting that it was just one of many cases that will not hold up in the court of law. Sean Combs has never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. No number of lawsuits, sensationalized allegations, or media theatrics will change that reality. Well, the federal indictments, I'm sorry, change that reality. This isn't just a screw of civil cases against you, Diddy. I understand the Jay-Z one going out. I didn't think it had legs to begin with. And I think also the fact that there was no follow-up, there was not a litany of other allegations coming through, told us a lot. That was the first thing I said was, if there's more that's going to start coming through here on Jay-Z, there might be legs to this. There might be something here. We didn't see anything.
No.
So,
as a matter of fact, we saw that there really wasn't a whole lot of evidence to prove this. It's disturbing to me as a woman because I don't want to discredit people from coming out if something happens to you. But I also think you need to do something in a fairly short amount of time so that evidence can be gathered. Witnesses can be talked to and get their statements. When you do something this far out into the future, the odds of it ever turning in your favor are so small. And it just makes it sound like those people who really have a case that they're lying.
Well, and I'm sorry, and her dates didn't add up. Like the claims she was making, she made many claims, and I don't have them all in front of me, but she made a bunch of claims about this person was there and that person was there, and they weren't. And I'm sorry, I do feel like this one was probably bunk and was probably somebody out for a money grab. And when those people do come about and do that, they need to be exposed to shit. Like, I feel like people who make claims like this, and if it can be proven that you are making this shit up, you should have the tables turned on you. And your life should be destroyed and ruined if you're trying to do that to somebody else for money, because
it's such a serious topic.
Well, yes, well, it is, but I also very much dislike this idea just because somebody says a story out loud that they're immediately to be believed. Like, people fucking lie all the time. Men, women, they all fucking lie. But it doesn't mean all of them are liars. But you have to verify claims. You can't just say that and then, oh, this must be true. And just because there probably is a lot of shit against Diddy, in reality, the feds are after him for a lot of these same sort of things. So thinking you're going to kind of latch onto this and go forward, I don't know. I mean, your story did not add up. If it was some other case and like the story's just not adding up, we'd be like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. It hurts me because there's so many women and men out there who have situations that have happened.
Sure.
And you know,
But we can't live in this world where it's like, just because someone says something, like that person's life is now destroyed. And I'm not sticking up for Diddy here at all, because he's very likely guilty of a lot of shit. But we can't live in this world where somebody just speaks aloud some sort of claim. And it may be, gee, maybe somebody has a vendetta. Gee, maybe somebody was scorned. Gee, maybe somebody just wants to get more attention, or they're missing a lifestyle that they didn't have or wanted to have or whatnot. And they're going to go say something fucking crazy because it gets them attention and gets money out of them, because they'll settle. We can't live in a world like that. And so, yeah, we need to be in a place where victims can truly come forward, but those who are making shit up need to be prosecuted just as strongly, because you can't. That's not a society where someone can just make shit up because they have a vendetta or whatever, and then they're just to be blamed because they're claiming they're a victim of something. There's a lot of people who are not victims of anything other than trying to take advantage of other people, and that
absolutely.
And that's where this world needs to take a step back. This country needs to take a step back on that shit. Because I'm sorry, we've seen many people who've been accused of things, and it turns out that's complete bullshit. Do you ever see much happen to the accuser? No, it just kind of fades away, but the damage is done to people. I mean, I'm thinking, what's Chris Hardwick, the allegations there, and shit like that. It's like, fuck you. There's a scorn Garth. Yeah, it's like there's shitty people who will make shit up about you. And I'm just, this idea that everyone who says something aloud, because they were in, some sort of a radius close to a person at one point in time, mysteriously years ago, now suddenly has a story to tell that's extremely debilitating to them. I mean, sure, there probably are many with Diddy, but again, there's a lot of bullshit. And people are, they're seeing a payday. They're going to go forward with it.
Well, and we've got, there's two things I want to bring up here. Number one, what role does the media have in this? And as soon as somebody files a suit against somebody who's famous, it just gets plastered out there. And like you said, it just rips apart the reputation of the person accused. If maybe media needs to wait until something is a little bit more credible instead of just filing the lawsuit before it's so widely publicized.
It's something to talk about. I don't think media is the problem on this. I think it's people that are the problem on this. Media are going to take a look at a case and they're going to say, okay, well, somebody filed this and it's interesting. The two were pretty tight friends for a very long time.
Right.
They did albums together. They have fucking songs that kind of talk about this sort of behavior. It might not be that far of a stretch to think maybe something bad happened here. So you take a look at it. You you don't say that this is for sure what happened, but you go, this is an interesting allegation and here's why. Contextualize it.
Sure.
What happens out there, and that's responsible reporting. Contextualize the story and understand it in its full context. It's the consumers of it that don't do that. It's the consumers of it that just start going, he did this, he did that. I knew it all along. Well, what's your proof? I mean, just because we're presenting a story about something and there's evidence that point in a direction, it doesn't mean that evidence is right. It just means that it exists as pieces of the story. Evidence that's made up is not evidence. So you're reporting on the evidence here is this. This was this lawsuit. There was these claims. And look, the connection, we see the connection that is there. So yeah, it's not crazy to think that maybe some people associated with him might be involved in this sort of stuff. Not saying Jay-Z is or ever was. But when you start getting allegations in, that raises an eyebrow and you got to look at it. And they did. And right away, right at the beginning of this one, I was saying it. I'm like, I don't know. Like this is it's kind of a hard one, but it's a story.
Too, we have public fatigue. I think people are anything that comes out about Diddy now, we're just like, yeah, another day, another Diddy. Here's another thing. And the other thing that I'm really noticing, and I notice this a lot in politics, I notice a lot in the celebrity news, and you just brought up part of it, that consumers, when they're taking in this information, when they are absorbing news. They're doing it in 30-second blips. For a case like this, to put it into context, you need more time. And they're used to, and I'm going to sound like, oh, the old lady's talking again. But here's the thing. We used to actually have newscasts where they would talk for 2 to 3 minutes about a story,
Ooh.
give you the details.
Well, and that's
now
what
we're doing it on TikTok in 20 seconds.
Well,
and there's your story. And
we're
there's your
doing it there,
judgment.
but we're doing it here in podcast form on a story for 30, 40 minutes, which never existed in the past, on a single fucking story. So if people want it spoon-fed to them, contextualized, it's there. It is right there. It's whether you want to consume that and digest it and take it in and be a responsible, purveyor of the said news that you've heard from someone and relay it correctly. People have never been good at that. They've always been horrible at that. That's just how human beings are. But there's no excuse at this day and time where you could not contextually put the story together and go, okay, I can kind of see this, I can kind of see that, but we just don't know. And that's all it is. It's just a matter if you want to take the time and effort to do it. A lot of people do just swipe, that's your news. But you got this, you got that. I mean, it used to be, if you wanted to hear a news story, you got the 2-3 minute blip out of it if you caught the evening news.
Yeah.
And now you can click a button and hear all you want about it from every different perspective that's out there.
Well, our people are doing it.
Yeah.
The people who are sitting here listening to this, they're getting, a detailed explanation of cases with experts. The thing that disturbs me are the people who see the headline, they read 2 lines on TikTok and they're gone. And they've got a judgment, and then they carry that out into society.
Well,
and say,
it makes them feel
Jay-Z
better.
did this.
Makes them feel better about themselves. Let's tear somebody who's been successful down. That's the nature of how we operate here in this lovely country. The women first came forward publicly in December in an NBC News interview, revealing that she's a now 38-year-old mother in Alabama. She said she remained silent for more than 2 decades out of fear that no one would believe her. According to her lawsuit, she was outside Radio City Music Hall the night of the 2000 VMAs when she met a limousine driver who claimed to work for Combs. The driver allegedly took her to an after party where she accepted a drink from a waitress and immediately felt lightheaded. The lawsuit stated that as she looked for a place to lie down, Combs, Carter, and another unnamed woman followed her into the room where Carter allegedly had raped her first, then followed by Combs. This was what her claim was in that lawsuit. Carter's attorneys had pointed out multiple inconsistencies in the woman's claims, including being unable to verify the location of the alleged after-party. The woman described it as a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway about 20 minutes from Radio City Music Hall, but no such property had been found to match that description. Additionally, Carter's legal team referenced NBC's reporting that musician Benji Madden, who the woman claimed was present at the party, was actually on tour in the Midwest at that time. Meanwhile, Combs remains in legal turmoil, facing multiple allegations of sexual assault, physical violence, and sex trafficking. His upcoming trial for sex trafficking and racketeering charges is set to begin in May. So I don't know that, if she is telling the truth and this case just fell apart because she had too many inconsistencies in the story, or if it's not going to go anywhere, because it looked like they were going to fight it. There wasn't necessarily going to be a settlement on that one. And maybe the attorney just said, look, there's not enough evidence to pursue this and we got to walk away. I don't know. I'm not here to judge or say that this woman's story is true or false. I'm just saying what she has chosen to present publicly did not add up. And look,
Right.
and every other case we talk about, if the information that is presented publicly does not add up, you call it out, including in cases of sexual assault. It doesn't make it something magical and special, or that we can't talk that somebody's making some shit up if their story doesn't add up because it's sexual assault. It doesn't.
There's a piece to this story, and I just want to be this devil's advocate here. If somebody is drugged, it makes it really hard to come up with details of what happened.
No, I get it.
Really, really hard.
But why are we coming up with details at all if we don't know them?
Yeah. No, I understand.
I mean, it doesn't magically make other musical artists appear that aren't at a party that you claim to have been at either.
Yeah, it's a messy situation. It is. I just hope it's not discouraging for people who,
I don't
you
think
know,
anybody's been discouraged about filing a suit against Diddy.
true.
And look, we knew, and I'm sure there's many other in this litany of lawsuits that's going against Diddy that are completely bullshit as well. I'm sure there are. And I'm sure there's plenty in there that are very likely true, allegedly.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, you don't have this kind of waterfall of people coming in if there's nothing there. You just don't. And the fact that the feds are doing what they're doing, it means they already have their case. They're already seizing his shit.
Yeah.
So they know they got enough on him. And so is every single one of these cases true? No. I'm sure they're not. But the shit the feds have? No. What's going to happen there? Who knows? Hopefully everything continues to go as planned, and he does get his day in court. But yeah, I mean, it's there's so much weird movement in the world right now. You never really quite know. But there you go. Turns out that one being withdrawn with prejudice, so it cannot be refiled again. And Jay-Z has his name out of that arena with Diddy. It's just one of those things. I mean, it's the company you keep that, you always hear as a kid, if he was someone who was not tight with him all those years, I don't think it would have been on people's radar as being plausible.
100%. It's really important to know who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
It really is.
And maybe he had no idea what he was up to. I have no idea. I'm not here to say he did either way. But it seems a lot of people did know what Diddy was up to. And if you're going to play with that friend that has these stories going on about them, and, you don't want to get caught up when somebody starts making stories up or accusations because you happen to be close. It's just true. It's a piece of life. You can get caught up into that stuff, and then people will start thinking you're like that because, you're close to that. That's a fucking reckoning for the music industry. I mean, everybody was down with Diddy. Everybody was down with R. Kelly, all that shit,
Yeah.
And we knew what the fuck R. Kelly had done. That wasn't rocket science for anyone. That wasn't an epiphany I had. I didn't know you had that tape out there that shows you in your bathroom with your Soul Train awards raping a child. I thought that was, no, that wasn't. It looks just like you, though. Yeah. Oh, let's do a tour together. Come on. Come on. Make better choices, I think, is the lesson to be learned through all these stories.
The world of true crime never stops, and neither do we. Press subscribe now to get daily updates, in-depth analysis, and expert opinions from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.